Hello everyone, and I welcome you all to Automate with Dave. So, आज we are going to see a very good use case, and this will be a part of my playlist for the A2019 tutorials. So, this is about fetching the configuration value from a configuration file. So, we will be starting with the very basic approach that we follow in any development for any automation anywhere project. So, that will be to like fetch any values from maybe a XML file or maybe an Excel file. So these are some of the prerequisite values that you require whenever you're going to do any automation project, and we will be seeing how we can do it using an XML file. So there are many videos out there regarding this, but the unique thing I think about this video will be a very dynamic approach in what we are going to do, and I will be explaining you how we are going to do it in the upcoming few minutes. Okay. So just guys, if you like this video, do support my channel, do subscribe to my channel, and if you wish to see something more, some like some content that you have in your mind, then please do post in the comment section below, so that I can deliver more quality content going ahead in future. So see, this is the automation anywhere window that I have opened up with me. So I have created a new bot, which is the fetch configuration details. So this is a fresh bot that I have created, and from scratch you'll be seeing how we can create both the configuration file and as well as how we can automate the use case. Okay, so going ahead, I use an editor. You can use any editor you want. My preferable editor is Visual Studio Code that I use for creating any such files or for creating any HTML pages. So this is a pretty good editor. So now here what you can do is you can go to file, you can go to new file, and you can create a dummy file from the scratch. I already have a config.xml file, and this is in my CA2019 folder. So I will be creating the very first node for it, that is the configuration node. Okay. And what I will be doing is, once I have this with me, I will be just creating the ending node for this. Okay. So an XML always has a starting tag and an ending tag. Okay. So this is how it goes ahead. So this is my parent node. Now within this, what I wish to do is I wish to create one more node called as environment. Okay. And here what I can do is I can give an ID saying as this ID is dev. Okay, so what happens is, in any project you might create only one configuration file which can have some prerequisite values for like dev. It might have some values for QA, some values for prod. So you can do it in one file itself. So we will be seeing in our use case for two such environments. One will be dev and one will be QA. Okay, so what we will be doing is we'll be giving an ending node for this one. So that is environment again. Okay, and what I can do is I can again copy this value, and I will try to paste it here also. This time the node name will be QA. Okay, so I have now my dev and QA nodes ready. Here I will be putting some values. So one value can be a URL if you want. So this can be www.google.com. So we will be doing a very simple use case for our tutorial. So I will be just showing you this one with a URL, and then let's say I want to search something in that particular web page. So I can put something like a search text. Okay, and the search text can be, let's say, something called as a development. Okay, for my example I will be putting it like this. Okay, and what I can do is I can put some delay parameter also along with it, or it can be a timeout parameter, so just to know how much the bot should wait for any particular action to be performed. So let's give it as a timeout s, and I will give it some time in the millisecond range. So for me it should be somewhere around, let's say for now 3000, and yeah, so give it as a timeout s. Now one thing that you can do is, you can copy all of these values. Okay, and then what you can do is you can just put it here. So here I might change the text to quality. Okay, and here I might just increase the timeout value to, let's say, 30 seconds. So this usually happens when you go to any production region. You would want your timeout values to be a bit higher, because there can be lags, there can be some production issue, and in a production you don't want your bot to break very easily. So you might increase such parameters. Again, the URL is also something like in your day-to-day real life industrial scenarios, you might see like in dev, your URL might consist of something like a dev keyword. In the production, it might be a different URL with a product keyword. So this is where you can make all those manipulations. Once I've done it, I will do a control S. So I've saved my configuration file and we have created it from scratch. Now coming to the main part, that is for the automation anywhere. So now here what I will do is the very first thing I will write XML, okay, in the actions tab. So here I will write XML, and in the XML, if you see there are some values like a start session and then there is end session. Now here you can give a session name. So ideally you should variabilize every parameter that you are giving as a best practice, but for our use case, I will be putting it as, let's say, default for now. And what I will do here is I will go to the desktop file, I will click on browse. So a very important aspect whenever you are automating any use case, like any end-to-end project, is where to store your XML files or your configuration files. Now in A2019, the very there's a very one good feature that you can use, that is for the control room file. So in the control room also you can upload a particular configuration file and you can read it from there. Otherwise, if there are some implication or some limitations from your client side, then yeah, they also tell you to store it somewhere like in a shared drive location that you can use. Okay, so for our use case, we have it in the C drive. Okay, so I will go to my C drive. In the C drive, I have a A2019 folder and I have a config.xml. Okay, so I have selected it, as you can see. And now what I will do is I will again give a end session. Okay, so I have both the start session and the end session, and always make sure the session name is the same. Now whenever you are going to read anything in a XML file, there is a term that you need to know, that is the XPath expression. Now what is this XPath expression? It is basically a kind of, you can say, a path nomenclature for a given path to navigate to any particular node in an XML file. So how it happens is, like, let's say if I use any particular node value, like let's say I want to get this URL. So what XPath I can give is, the XPath always is like this. You give us forward slash, then you write the parent node. So I want to start from configuration, let's say. So I will write configuration, and then I want to traverse to the environment. But if you see, there are two environments, right? So how basically you will know which environment you need to go to. So you can use something called as, you can use the attribute feature here. What you can do is you can write like @ID. Since I have used ID as my attribute to identify this node, I can write attribute as ID equal to dev, right? And once you give it like this, so basically you can identify, okay, I need to go to this particular segment, not this one. And from here you just need to close this, and then you can just go to URL to just pick this URL, right? And this is how you can fetch the URL. Now similarly you can do the same for the rest also, like search text. Okay, now the thing is, now I will come to this main point, like what I was going to tell you at the beginning of the video. The different thing that we are going to do is, you can like fetch each and every element one by one using one of the automation anywhere commands, that is get single node. So in the get single node, if you provide one path, it will return you that variable. And this is something I've seen in most of the videos, that people are using the get single node method, but I don't think it is a very useful method. Because just imagine, I will give you two cases. One case, let's say you are developing a project and you have like 60 configuration files. You have to drag this command 60 times and you have to again explicitly write it again and again, which is a very cumbersome process as per me. And the second thing is, let's say today you have 60 variables with you, but tomorrow let's say you increase it by 20 variables. You have to make this changes both in your configuration file as well as in the code. So as a from a maintainability purpose, I don't think it's a pretty good method or a standard practice that we should follow. So I will show you how dynamically you can set any value in your XML files. Okay, so we will be looking at that. So the very first thing is, we have to firstly like locate what is the static part and what can be the dynamic part. So if you see, my static part would be something like this, and this value like dev or QA will be coming from your input parameter. Like whenever you'll be calling this task, these should be your input parameter. Like your bot should first identify in which environment it is. You can use the global values feature, or you can use an input parameter that depends on your use cases. Okay, so basically we in our example will be using the environment as a input type, so that the bot knows in which environment it needs to go. So this part I can say will be the static part. The dynamic part is the particular at different nodes that we have, or the different values, right? These will be the dynamic part. So I will show you now what we will do. So firstly, I will be just copying out this particular value, that is the static part. I will be taking out to this, I will taking out here. And what I will do is I have something called as a get multiple nodes. So in this one, the session name will be same. In the XPath expression, I will be just copying that value. Now here, if you see, this dev is something that should be dynamic, right? So what I can do is I can here create a variable. I will name it as s environment type. Okay, so this will tell me at which particular environment we are at and what node we need to retrieve. Okay, and I will make it as an input node. I will create it. What I will do here is within these single quotes, I will put the value as s environment type. Okay, so this can be dev, this can be QA. You will be providing it whenever you'll be calling this particular task. And after this, I have my dynamic value. So what I can do is I can use a keyword that is descendant. Okay, and then I can put two colons, and then I can put star. Now what does this means? Descendant means after this, whatever are the descending nodes or the child nodes, you have to take those all values. And a wildcard means it should be anything. It can be any child node under that. It does not mean that there is some particular condition that we need to follow. So this is the particular XPath expression that you can use. Okay, and I will just make the get each node as an XPath expression. Okay, so once I do that, the second thing I need to do is I need to loop through all those nodes that I have retrieved. Okay, so for that I can use a loop command, and I will go to loop. Okay, in the loop what I can do is I can use something like a for each node in XML dataset. Okay, and here the session name, just remember this session name should always be the same. And I will store this value, let's say, in something called as a s node path. So this will be the node path for each and every traversal that I will be making. Okay, and I will be just creating that. So now I have this ready with me. Now the next thing that I can do is a very basic thing, that is a message box. I can just try to see what values I'm getting, right? So I will use a message box here. And firstly, what I will do is I will try to see the values. So I will just give a node path. Okay. So now let's observe what values we are actually getting. Okay. Okay. So now here I have to provide an input parameter. I will provide, like, let's say dev. Okay. And I will just say confirm. So it's getting deployed. Okay. So now in this particular use case, you can also provide some more checks. Like you can see if the XML is well formed or not. And depending on that, you can throw an exception, or you can, try to see how it can be, like, navigated ahead. So there are some checks you can make, but it is a very simple thing that we are doing. Usually your configuration file is always supposed to be a well formed XML. Okay, so that's why we are assuming that it's a well-formed XML as of now, and we are just trying to just see what are the different node values within it. So if you see, so now if you see, this is the type of node part I get. So this is configuration slash environment slash like bracket one. So one means like this is trying to say that in this particular XML structure, I am in the first environment node, not in the second one. If it were the second one, it would have been two, and then it is going to this URL. So it means that I have my XPath expression till here. So this bot has identified in the first iteration. In the second iteration, if you see, the bot is going till this one, search text. And in the third one, it will go till timeout. So if you see, yes, we are getting timeout. So basically our code is working from what we see. Okay. So now what we will do is, I will try to first now take some values from this particular part. Okay. So I can have two parts. I will show you. So firstly, now the next decision that I need to make is I have to store these values. Where I can store these values? What's the best way? So as per the industry practice, we are going to store them in a dictionary, because dictionary has a key and a value pair. So if you provide a key, the appropriate value will be fetched up. So what I will do is I will use a dictionary. In the dictionary, I have something called as a put. Okay, I can use. But if you see, okay, in this dictionary, I need two things. I need a dictionary variable firstly. I need a key, I need a value. Now, we don't have the key and we don't have the value. So what can be the next step? So I would say the very next step should be to get the key, and then we can get the subsequent value. Now, in order to get the key, if you remember the XPath expression that we saw, right? There was configuration slash environment bracket 1 slash URL. I just need to get the URL content out of it. So how I can do it is I can use a replace command. Okay. And in the replace command, if you go here, what I will do is I will put the source string as the node path. So if I take the node path, now here I have to replace the string before URL. That will be something like this, like configuration slash environment bracket 1 slash. But now just see one thing. This bracket 1 will not be the same always. If you put the environment as QA, this can turn into 2. So this replace command is pretty static in nature. What we can do is we can use a regular expression. Now for a regular expression, remember whatever are the forward slashes or the bracket, they need to be escaped by a backslash. So what I can do is I can put one backslash here. I can put one backslash here. Then I can put one backslash here. I can put one backslash here, and I can put one backslash here. So I have escaped all the special characters. Now here is also one more thing, that is 1. Now this 1, I have to replace it by some particular numeric variable. So for new numbers, you have an expression called as slash d. Now slash d will indicate that there can be any single digit number, but it is not the case. Let's say if this node gets increased to, let's say, QA, dev, dev1, dev2, dev3, like let's say you have multiple environments, more than 10, or like more than 9. If you have a double digit one, then it can break. So what I will do is I will put slash d plus. It means that there can be either one numeric value or more than one numerical, like more than one number. So there can be multiple digits also. So this particular plus sign indicates that. And here we have our XPath expression well created. And what I will do is I will try to assign this value to a variable called as skey. Okay, so this is my key value. Now if I want to get the particular, let's say, the value part out of this key, what I can do is, this is a very simple thing. Whenever I am looping through it, you saw that an XPath expression is coming out. So I can simply use get single node. So why get single node? Because get single node will always require just one XPath expression that you need. And this node path value that you are getting in the loop, this is a dynamic part, because it will be always like URL, timeout. So different values it will keep on giving you. So you can simply use this XPath. And here what you can do is you can use a particular thing called as S value, right? So now I have my S value here in this particular variable. So I have my key, I have my value. So okay, so I have two things. Now I can use this. I will firstly create a dictionary. I will name it as p configuration values, right? And what I can do is I will just create and select. Now I have to put a key to it. So in the key, I will be putting this S key that will be dynamic for every loop. I will put the S value, which will be again dynamic for every loop. Now this thing means that, let's say if my key is not right, let's say I am the second element right now. So this thing will assign the value of the previous one to this variable. And we don't need it actually, but it's a mandatory parameter. So for now, I will just keep it as prompt assignment. Okay. So now once you give it, your value and key will be dynamically getting added to your configuration dictionary. Okay. And once I have done that, one more thing I can do is I have to check what is the particular value for it, right? So like I have to check what is the size of that dictionary. There can be 0 elements, there can be more than 0 element, right? If it is 0, it means that your configuration values have been they couldn't be stored. But if it's more than 0, it means that we have something in our configuration dictionary. Okay, so what I will do is I will put a message box. Okay, and this message box I will put here. And before this, I also need to fetch the size. So for the size part, what I can do is, if you see in your dictionary, the package, there is a size command. You can use that. You need to just assign the dictionary value. And here I will create a new variable called as n size. And once I do that, okay, what I can give here is, I can write size of dictionary after fetching values. Okay, I can put something like this. And here I have to put that size, but size is a numeric value, and in a message box you can't put numeric values. So what I will do is, I will explicitly write n size. Okay, now this will throw me an error if you see. So what I will do, before this dollar sign I will put a dot, and then I will write number, then a colon, and then I will write two strings. So this is a kind of a, you can say, an inline expression, we call it. So some inline expression can help you to manipulate your data at one command only. Otherwise you might have to first use a different command. So you can do it like this. You might need to first, if you go to number, in number you have something called as a toString. You can drag it, but again you have to then assign it to a new string variable, and then you can put that variable here. So just to like lessen our efforts, we can use inline expressions. Okay, so this is what we are using here. And one more thing we will do is, also before starting my whole task itself, right, what I will try to do, I will try to drag it here. So firstly what I will do, I will get the size of the initial dictionary, and I will firstly check what was the size before this, right? So I will write before fetching values. Okay, so basically I'm getting the size of dictionary first, then I'm printing out that size, then I'm running my XML, getting the values, and at the end I'm again checking what is the size. Okay, now let's see what will happen. So now if I do this, okay, and now it will be getting deployed to my computer, and then let's see what will be the message boxes I'll be getting. So the very first message box will be telling me about my initial size of the dictionary. Okay, so that will be the message box we'll be seeing first. So if you see, the value right now is 0. There is nothing, my dictionary is empty. Okay, now we'll close it. Now it will show me the XPath. So this is the current XPath, that was for URL. This was the second XPath. This was the third XPath. And here if you see, the size of dictionary after fetching the values is 3. Okay, so basically I have inserted everything into my dictionary variable. Okay, I'll be closing it, and then I'll be stopping it. Now one thing I will be doing is, I can remove these message boxes, because I just put it to debug, just to see if any error happened or not. And I can remove all these values, right? And yeah, so now one thing is, now I have 3 elements, and that you have seen for sure. Based on this dictionary size also, you can put some kind of a check, like if the size is 0, you can throw an exception saying that you couldn't load your dictionary. Okay, so that depends on you. Now one thing that we can do is, to see if our configuration values are properly set or not, what we can do is, I will try to log all those values. Okay, just to see. So what I will do is, I will use a log to message. Okay, so there's a log to file command that you have. Okay, so I will be using that. I will be dragging it here. Okay, and now what I can do is, let's say if I want to log the values, I need to first iterate within my dictionary variable. So I can use a loop command before this. In the loop command, what I can do is, I can put some values, like iterator will be for each item in your dictionary, for each key in dictionary I can put. Okay, and here I can put it to the dictionary variable s values, and I can assign the current value to s key only. Okay, so I will be putting it like this, and what I can do is, I can simply try to log the file, okay, with that dictionary variable whenever I'll be having it. Okay, so here now it is, now if you see, the current value will be assigned to your key string. Okay, so that is an important thing to see here. Okay, so now what I can do, I can use a log to file. I can use the log to file here. Okay, and here what I can do, I have to give a file path. So I can give something like that, A A2019 slash log, or I can just make it, yeah, I can make it as log.txt. Okay, and what I can give here is, I can give here that value that will be your that will be from my dictionary variable itself. So I can do one thing, I can put it like this: d configuration values, and in this particular part I can put my variable, that is the s key. Okay, so it means that in this particular so here if I give it like this, it means that in the dictionary variable, whatever is the current key, you put that, and this, so this is equal to my, equivalent to my value that I will be getting. Okay, and here what I will be putting is, here I will be putting that key. So my key will be s key, that I will be getting the current key value. Okay, that is what I will be getting here, and I can put it like this. Okay, so it means that my key hyphen the value. To get values, there is also a different way also in your dictionary. If you go in your dictionary, you have a get command. Okay, in the get command, if you go to your get command, you can also get the value in a separate variable altogether. But this is the most I say the most preferable way, because when you'll be working in any particular project, like once you have fetched the configuration values, you will be trying to get, or you will be trying to put these values like this only, like s configuration key, and in this particular curly braces, you will be putting that key name that you want. So you can put url, you can put search text. In my case, I just want to see the contents, that's why I'm putting out a loop. Okay, so now what I can do, I can click on save, and once I click on save, first let me show you the show you the folder that I have with me. Okay, so if I go here, okay, so I have like c, okay, A2019. So as of now, I just have my config.xml. I don't have any log file here. So now let's see what will happen. If I click on run, it's been completed successfully. Let me check my file. So yeah, I have a log.txt. If I go here and if I check, so if you see, we have my URL, then then this one, then this one. So we are getting all the values. And you can also, if you want to use any configuration value explicitly, what you can do is, it's very easy. You can even put one more log file. You can write it as something like a custom value. So basically it means that you are going to explicitly provide something out of the configuration dictionary. So what you can do is, you can use something like this, like d configuration values, and in the curly braces you can give the name as, let's say, url. Okay, so it will give you the url. If you, let's say, I want to give something like a search text. Okay, I can give it like that, like search text. Okay, so let me try this and this see. So I will show you. So this log will be there, like custom value search text. So if you want to, let's say, use it in any particular place like a search box or any element, you can give it like that. Okay, and then I will just click on save. I will just try to again like run the bot, but this time I will put it outside the loop. Okay, because otherwise it will be always, I will be getting it 3 times. I don't want it 3 times. I just want it only once at the end. Okay, and here I will be putting the value, let's say this time as qa, and we will check what happens. Once it runs, it has been completed successfully. Now let's try to check our log.txt, and let's see what we will get. So if you see, this was from the first run, this is from the second run, and here I have put a custom value also. So this is how you can use any key value in your dictionary for any operation that you want, and it makes it very easier. Like your life will be very easier with dictionary values. Okay, so that's it for the video content that I had for the day. If you liked my video, do subscribe to my channel, do hit that bell icon for more upcoming updates, and do like the video, and also share your feedback on how you like the content and what else you want to see in the upcoming near future for my A2019 tutorials. I will be posting a lot of videos that will be very relevant to the industry use cases that we see. Till then, bye, and do like, comment, and subscribe.